Oh my gosh, I am finally ready to start painting. Can you believe it? Okay, let's see what I got going. Now this is just a little sneak preview of what's in this video. This is just the start. It's only the undercoating, so I'll be going into much more detail. I have my final design all laid out. Now here's all the colors I'm going to be using, and these will all be listed in the description below, so don't worry about that. Now I decided to do this painting the slow way, so I'm going to be using Liquin for this because this makes it dry really fast overnight. And this will be doing this in multiple layers, so I'll probably only show you the first layer, maybe the second layer, but just bear in mind I will be using multiple layers. Okay, time to get started. Yay! Now I did speed up this video just a tiny bit because I just thought that would be good. You don't need to watch all this stuff in regular time. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what I'm doing. So just watch carefully and watch the colors that I'm using, and just take your time with it. The good thing is that I am showing this video, the whole thing. I'm not editing out anything. The reason for that is because I want you to see how I'm mixing these colors. You'll be able to see my palette here, which is very small, but still it's a palette. And you'll be able to watch how I blend the different colors together. And you can see how I use the Liquin. So that's one of the things that I do want you to notice. When I'm using Liquin, I am always dipping my brush into it frequently. Almost before I reload my brush into a color, I will dip into the Liquin first. I don't want too much Liquin, otherwise it will thin out the paint too much. But just a little bit really extends that paint, makes it go on very smooth, and like I say, it dries really fast. So it's just a really fabulous product to use. So I started out with my sky, Prussian blue, and a little Liquin and some white. And I just made a very light color to start with. Now I want to go into more of my sunset colors. I'm going to have a lot of quiet time in this video so you can just see what I'm doing and you don't have to listen to me blabber. You know, for those of you who don't know the story behind this saw, I know some of you saw it on an earlier video, but for those of you who don't know, I got this saw from Rebecca, who is a good friend from church. She actually gave me two saws, and this one I thought was quite unique because it had a really pretty handle, a unique handle with a crack right across it. I'm not sure, I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with that handle, whether I'm going to fill it or try and repair it, or just leave it in its natural state and just go with that. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. But anyway, so she gave me these two saws, and you know, when I got them, I looked at them and I thought, oh my gosh, these are so rusty. How on earth am I ever going to work with them? So I got on the internet and I started looking at videos. I started watching all kinds of YouTube videos on how people worked with saws to get them ready to paint. I'll tell you, there's a billion and one different ideas out there on how to do it. So many people, there's no one way, I found out, and there's no one product that you can use. It's just an accumulation of different stuff. So I got to thinking, I know John from church, really fabulous man who's very knowledgeable about so many different things. So I thought, I'm just going to go talk to him. So I went over to see him. I brought my saws over. he looked at them. He said, yeah, we can do that. We can fix it. And he has all the tools. My gosh, he has just a fabulous, fabulous workshop. So anyway, he started working with me, and I made a video on that of John and I. He's doing all the work. I'm just sort of talking and narrating. But if you want to see how these saws are prepared, I'll put that in the link below too, that you can check that out, because it's really quite interesting and quite involved, way more so than I thought it would be. There's quite a bit to taking off all this rust on a saw and making it nice and smooth and making a good surface for it to paint on. So anyway, so we spent quite a while in the afternoon doing that. He did that for me. He got the saws, both saws, all prepped, even the handles. He did those too. So then after I got them home, I needed to do something so that the oil paint would adhere to the saw itself, and because he has a primer on it, a very shiny, smooth primer. So what I did is I put, I sanded it down lightly first with a 320 grit sandpaper, very, very fine sandpaper, because I didn't want to rough up the surface very much. I just wanted just a tiny bit of the surface gone, just enough so the paint would adhere. And once that was done, then I put the gesso on. I actually took 3 coats of gesso because the primer was a very dark color. But once the gesso was on and dried, then I had to do my sketch. Once I figured out what I was going to do there, which took me a long, long time to figure out, I got the sketch all in my mind. I tried out many different sketches on paper before I actually decided on one that I wanted to do. And I decided on a church. I thought a church kind of set in the woods, and I just thought that was kind of a neat idea. I could have done a cabin. You guys gave me so many great ideas. Sawmills, windmills, cabins, just great ideas. Flowers, animals, they're just wonderful ideas. But I finally decided on a sunset and a church in the background. So I'm pleased with it so far, with the drawing, that is. We'll see how the painting goes. That could be another story. So, like I said, this is just an undercoating. And once this undercoat is dry, I'm going to let it dry for a few days. And once it's dried, what I'm going to do is I'll start a second coat. And when the second coat I do, it'll reinforce the colors. And then once that's all dry, then I'll do a third coat and maybe even a fourth coat, reinforcing all the colors. And then also, oh gosh, I'm losing my train of thought here. I'm so tired tonight. It's very late right now. I'm very tired. But anyway, I forgot what I was going to say, so I guess it wasn't very important anyway. Let's see, where are we at here? We're on the purple-blue color. It's just alizarin crimson and blue, and a little bit of white, and even a little touch of brown here and there. Just to dull the color a little bit. So we're just working on the mountain background. And I love this slant brush for doing mountains. It really, you can get some very nice peaks in here, and when you go to highlight, really does a beautiful job of highlighting. A if any of you guys have ever worked on a saw. Why don't you leave me something in the comments below, because I'd really like to hear about your experience and if you liked it. And you can even send me a photo of it if you did one. I would love to see that. Now, going around this church is, I have to be very careful here. I don't want to lose my sketch. So I'm adding a little bit of crimson to that blue just to change the color, tint it a little bit different shade. And when I do the next coat, I'm probably going to lighten these mountains a little bit. I'm not sure yet. It's just a trial and error thing. I'm just going to have to go with it, you know, as it's happening, because I really don't know for sure. I'm sort of fading one color into another. And this left-hand side, I'm really not sure if I'm going to leave it the way it is or not. I originally intended for just a little bit of mountain area, and then it'll be covered with trees. But I'm not positive I'm going to do that yet. I may extend that sky, make more sky color, I'm not sure. Now, as I'm coming towards the center here, where the sunrise would be, or the sunset would be, I want to start incorporating a warmer color. So I'm using yellow ochre, adding a little bit of yellow ochre to that color. And it's just changing the tint a little bit so it looks like the light is hitting on there. Hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We sure did. My sister and I, we sat home and we nursed our arms, because the day before Thanksgiving we went and had our COVID shots. And so come Thanksgiving, my sister and I both, our arms were swollen, our arms had a headache, and our arms, they were just so, I don't know what I'd say, tired. They were just tired, achy, you know, that feeling. When you get the shot, it's almost like you get a little flu for a day. It only lasts for a day, so it's only uncomfortable for a day, but we just stayed home and we nursed our arms, and we watched cartoon movies all day. We watched Frozen, we watched, what is it, Rapunzel, Tangled, Let Down Your Hair, and Beauty and the Beast. We just had a wonderful Thanksgiving day. We didn't cook, however. So we missed all that. Most of you people have a family that you can go with and visit with, and we don't have that family anymore. Everybody's kind of all spread out and gone, and we're just kind of here by ourselves. But nonetheless, it was a wonderful Thanksgiving. So I want to start lightening the bottom of this mountain here a little bit, because I'm probably going to put some mist down here. This is an exciting project. I'm glad I got these saws from Rebecca, because it's something I've never done before. I've always wanted to do it. Even when I was living in Alaska, I thought, oh, it would be so fun to do those gold pans. You know, people do these beautiful cabins and northern lights on the gold pans, and they are just so, so pretty. And I always thought I'd love to do one. I never did, but it would have been fun. So anyway, this saw is kind of like working on metal. It's kind of like that same thing. So now here in the background, I want to start adding some shrubbery, some greenery. This will probably be way distant trees. It's really hard to imagine what this is going to be like when it's finished, because when you're just doing an undercoating, that's all it is just blocking things in. It doesn't really let you see what the finished product is going to be. So it's exciting. I'm anxious to get further along on it. So now coming to the foreground, I want to darken this tree or this grass a little bit more. I'm just adding a little brown to the green and a touch of white, just so it's not too dark. That's already starting to take, I think, a pretty good shape. Boy, for Christmas is coming up very, very soon. Here we are in December already. I just don't know where this year has gone. It has gone so fast. But we have a lot of church parties going this year on the month of December. And our church, you know, we're meeting in a theater right now, the Southgate Cinemas. And we've been here for 2 years, and we are just in the process. Well, actually, we've just purchased a new church. That church is going to be moving somewhere else, and so we're taking over and moving into their place. So everybody's very, very excited about that. Maybe that's the reason why I decided to do a church, although the two churches are nothing alike. This is more like a little fantasy church out in the woods and out in nowhere. Ours will be in a big downtown area where there's lots of traffic and lots of people. It's quite a large church, so it's going to be very exciting. Now this painting you could do on a canvas, any size that you like, just by cropping it and not making it so wide. Just bring it in, narrow it up a little bit, and you can use this same idea for your own painting, which would be delightful. And you know, I look at this and I think, well, you know, it looks a little lopsided right now, but it depends on what angle you're going to hang that saw on the wall. So whoever's going to get this saw, when they do, I'll just have them kind of line it up so that the building is straight. If the building is straight and looks level, everything else will fall into place. So I just need a little kind of a grayish color, I think, for this sidewalk here, for these steps. This is going to be steps. Steps coming down to the water. Isn't that crazy? It goes nowhere. And lastly, we'll do this little building here. Now all I'm doing is just blocking in on the shadow side of the church for now. I'm not sure what colors I'm going to use on the finished product yet, but I just thought, well, I'll just get a little color in here now just so you can see it. And then what I'll do is I'm just going to let this totally dry for probably a couple days or maybe even more. We're in the holiday time and shopping and just so many things going on, so I'll let it dry, and then I'll get back and start on the second coat, and I will be filming a little more on that. Maybe not everything on the second coat, but something. So do stay tuned.